This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Ben Settle, super practical.
I'm not telling people to have a mistress. I'm teaching you, learn the lesson from the people who have a mistress, because there's many business lessons that apply.
Pious.
There's a part in the book of Revelation where Jesus says, I want you either hot or cold. I'm spewing lukewarm churches out. And I think it's a good way to look at your list.
Romantic to his very core.
Once in a while, I'll give my girl a present, like a Snickers bar or something.
And totes tender.
If someone asks you to walk on eggshells, smash the eggshells and let the chips fall wherever they may.
Adored by feminists everywhere.
It takes a strong woman to admit when she's wrong.
Not a judgmental bone in his entire body.
I look at all the free information people give just on Facebook and I go, what a bunch of time hose.
Has a PhD in armchair philosophy.
In the land of dumbasses, the smartass is king.
You'll never meet a more sensitive guy.
If you really care about people, you shame the hell out of them. This is Ben Settle of the bensettle.com podcast. Last week I said that we would be doing some Q&A. John, I really don't remember the last time we did a Q&A, but I have like 100 questions of fodder.
2 months ago.
You know, was it 2 months ago? Wow. Okay, so, well, I have all these questions. I can't obviously go through 100 questions. In fact, I haven't even done a call to ask for people to send questions in a long time because I just have so many to go through. But
wow.
I picked out 5 that were 5 questions that people, not just these guys asked, but other people asked similar questions. That way we kind of get, we're hitting the hot buttons of the little people, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Because I'm not afraid to put myself up on a pedestal and lord myself over them, and so that they're in my shadow. And I have no problem doing that. No problem whatsoever.
You ought to do that.
I should be doing it. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that needs to be done to put these little people in their place. And I say little people, I don't mean they're dwarfs. I'm just saying like they're little people. Compared to me, they're just small-minded, small-thinking people, my audience. And they know it. Otherwise, why the hell are they listening to me? I don't know.
You're right about that one, right? Why else would they listen?
I have no idea why especially after I just said that. Why would they be listening? I don't know. Well, so I pulled out 5 questions, and the first one is, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, David Shilito. Do you think that's how you say it, Jonathan?
Oh, man.
David Shilito?
Yeah, it looks like Shilito.
It's Shillito. David Shilito. I'm just going to say Shilito. And if he emails me and says, you're wrong, Ben, I mean, I'll admit I'm wrong personally to him, but I'm not going to retract it or something on the air. I'm just thinking, Jonathan, I don't have time for that kind of stuff.
You're a busy man.
I don't have time for small talk on the air. I hate small talk on the air. I hate podcasts that don't actually get to the content.
Right.
They just natter on about stuff like how to spell people's names and all that. I don't know how people listen. I really don't. But David Shilito. Shilito or Shilito. It could be Shilito or Shilito or Shilito. I don't know. Here's what he asked. We'll get to what's important is not his name, but his question. And his question is, I'm most interested in Ben's take on the MGTOW movement. That means
what?
Men go their own way. It means men go their own way. I know. I didn't know if you knew what that meant, but you being a happily married man, it doesn't really apply to you at all. So why would you know? In fact, Cupcake would probably be kind of disappointed if you did know what that meant. She'd be like, "What? Why are you looking at men go their own way stuff, Jonathan?" And she'd have every right to question you about that. Anyway, back to David. I'm a 56-year-old guy from the north of England, twice married, twice divorced, and I love women. Apparently,
all right.
I'm just through with the pedestal thing. Man needs a passion, a focus, something to get excited about, and it can't be women or money. I'm not, you notice there's no question yet. He's just out there pounding his chest in England about.
Yeah.
And I'm just kidding, Dave, if you're listening to this. I'm just giving you a hard time, kind of. I have discovered that women want to be part of an adventure, but they don't want to be the adventure. And by the way, I agree with everything he just said. There's no question. He's absolutely right. So, MGTOW, men go your own way, your thoughts, gentlemen. So I thought this was a very good question. I like this question, actually. I do. And even though it's nothing to do with marketing or copywriting or any of that, it's still important for guys to understand this because they get seduced into this men go your own way, their own way mindset, which In theory, it makes sense. I understand it. It's a reaction to the.
What is the mindset? Just a synopsis for me.
Okay, so men go the way I understand it. It's like they just dropping out of the whole dating game, marriage game, everything, and they're not going to commit to any girl.
So they're going gay or what?
No, they're not going. I don't think they go gay.
Okay.
I'm going to assume they don't go gay because he loves women. So, he's definitely not.
Yeah, but he threw that in there and forced it, so I didn't know.
They're just dropping out of it. And I understand the mindset behind it because they're tired of being part of a system that screws them over. Like, he's been married and divorced twice. I'm guessing David has been raked through the coals of, I don't know how the family court system is where he's at, but like in America, it's not good. I have heard that it's improved a little bit. Like it used to be really bad. Like the guy just gets the crap end of the stick most of the time. Not all the time. Because I know there's going to be someone listening. Well, Ben, what about my, okay, fine. Granted, your situation is different. But I'm saying in general, guys tend to like not want to get married anymore because the risks far outweigh, are way worse than the reward. Like it's just like you're risking, you're betting basically half everything you have right up front, plus any alimony and anything like that might come through.
Yeah.
Now, this is just how it is, and the child support system is very heavily against the man. It's just how it is. Okay, it's not. I'm not saying there aren't circumstances where that's not the case. Okay, that's not my point. But there's a reason why men are going their own way. Okay, and then of course there's also the girls tend to American girls tend to be getting cuntier of the year. They do. They know what I'm talking about. They tend to, not all of them, obviously. Okay. Obviously not all of them. There's some good ones out there. Right. But guys like David, I get it. I feel for him. I really do understand what he's saying here. Like I get the whole why people do the men go their own way, but I don't think it's good for Western civilization. I think it's terrible for Western civilization to have that attitude. Now he's 56. Okay, so probably for him, I understand. It probably makes more sense. He's 56. He's tired of being divorced. He's tired of people. He's probably tired of getting crapped on. He's tired of being told one thing by the culture to be the nice, sweet, sensitive guy, only to do that, and then suddenly they leave him. And we talk about this on the show all the time. It's nothing different. He's just tired of it. He found himself a mission. It sounds like he's going after it. And I agree with everything he said there. He's absolutely right. But he wants our thoughts on it. So that's what we're giving him. I think it's bad for Western civilization, for younger people especially, including myself. That's why I don't do the men go their own way thing. I'm not like that. I'm just not, it just doesn't suit me. So maybe I'm projecting my own biases, but whatever. I still think it's bad for Western civilization. It's not good, Jonathan. If you and Cupcake adopted a kid, which is like the most selfless act like imaginable, right? You guys are taking Western civilization a step forward by doing that, a small step in your own way. Now, you could have people who are eternal bachelors who could have offered a lot to, a kid, several kids who do nothing with it, and they just go their own way and they're done with it. Did they help Western civilization? I don't know. I mean, I don't think they did. At the same time, I understand why they're doing it. So it's not like I'm against it by concept. I understand it. It sucks that it's become a thing. But a lot of it comes down to the guys. They just don't know how to be guys.
Yeah.
And so they've let this happen. They let the system turn into what it is. They let the girls treat them the way they get treated. It's always the guy's fault when it comes to this stuff. And so men go their own way is not really solving any problem.
It's fucking stupid. It's like they're pouting. Oh, I'm nice to you, but you don't love me, and so I'm going my own way now. Now I'm pouting about it. Why don't you just grow a sack and learn to be a man?
Well, I mean, that's why I think about it too. I do. It's a very reactive thing that seems proactive, right?
Bullshit.
But they're doing it. They're reacting to something. They didn't. And I get, again, I'm not going to be as mean as you are about it, Jonathan. but I understand what you're saying too. That's what it seems like to me. It's like a very reactive thing, and it's not. But see, the thing about David, though, is he's got the right, like, he's fine now.
Yeah.
Like, if you read his question here, like, he's fine. Like, he doesn't need to do men girl. That's my whole point.
Right.
Like, if he got married a third time, he'd probably be the man in that house. And he'd have her she'd be making him sandwich. She'd be pouring the tea at 4:00 like they do in England and all that, and don't you dare forget the second lump of sugar. He'll be yelling at her and stuff. And that's what I'm talking about. So,
very Mad Men of him.
Very Don Draper of him. So, okay. So enough of that one. That's my take on it. That's Jonathan's take on it. And, we've probably already said more than we know. So on to the next question. F. Scott Crawford says, "Hi, Ben. I'm interested in learning more about the process of mission selection." He's referring to my villains book where I talk about a mission. selection for building focus and exclusiveness and eliminating neediness as you introduce the concept in your villain's book. So, this is the thing. The thing about finding a mission, okay, and it sounds like this big, giant, mysterious thing, but it's really not. And people just used to just do this without us having to learn it. And we all had to relearn it nowadays, but
it's in your mindset.
It's if you don't know if you have the right mission, you don't have the right mission. You'll know it when you run into it. It's not something you have to be I don't have to be taught to get up and write an email every day. I just want to build this business the way I'm building it. I don't have to be told to do it. I don't need to go on Facebook and have a candlelight vigil with, the soy boys and the girls who need accountability groups and all that.
Yeah, the accountability post.
The accountability. I don't need, I'm not, and I know that sounds kind of rather dickish of me. I was just saying that girls have become kind of cuntish. The guys have become kind of dickish. As a result, I'll be the first to admit it, that I have been a little bit, but that's mostly just my personality defect. It's nothing to do with anybody else. But here's the thing with the mission. If you have to wonder if it's not it. Take example, let's take James Cameron, the film director, right? Love him or hate him, it doesn't matter. He's done some pretty good movies. And I remember somebody asked him once, what school do you go to if you want to learn to be a movie director? And he goes, the best thing you can do is just get a camera and start making movies, little movies, whatever. That guy did not have to be told what his mission was. He didn't have to he didn't have to sit there and read a book about it, right? He just did it. And he picked up a camera and now look. And, for every one of him, there's probably 10 others. I'm just saying, but that's my whole point. You just know what it is. Now,
Ben, are you saying, is it that you don't necessarily choose it? It chooses you. It hits you and you know what it is when it hits you?
Yes, I really believe that it chooses you. Absolutely. It's like when I went and got my dog. I walked dogs, Jonathan, for 6 months. This was 10 years ago. I've had my dog for 10 years now, over 10 years now. And I remember at least 6 months. I was going there to the dog shelter and walking dogs, not every day, but at least a few days a week. And I couldn't find what my dog was. I could just, there were some good dogs there, but they weren't my dog. When I saw Zoe, it's all we did is look at each other, and she picked me, and I picked her. But first, she picked me, and yes, so that's the same kind. You'll just know it when it's there. And if you have to wonder if it's the mission, then you don't have the right one, in my opinion, in my humble but accurate opinion. Now, I'm going to give it. I can't give you a 5-step checklist on how to find one, but what I can do is give a useful beacon and some things that might help someone who has the same question that F. Scott Crawford does is think about things that bother you or that excite you or things that get you really worked up. Whether you're angry or happy, it doesn't matter. Something that gets you completely worked up, and it's not something that's just a fleeting thing that tomorrow you don't care about it, but something that repeatedly gets you worked up. And you may be a problem that needs to be solved out there. I don't know what it is. For some people, they're sports stars, right? They spent their whole childhood because they wanted to be a baseball player or whatever. They just knew that's what their mission was, and that's what there was a problem in their mind that needed to be done. So it comes from within. That's all I can say. And I think you're right, Jonathan. I think it kind of finds you, and you just have to be receptive to it when it happens. And then when you get it, go in hard, full bore with it. Don't just become the best at whatever that is. And I don't know. I don't know if I can say it any more or less clear than that. I don't know if I can confuse this topic anymore. So we'll move on to the next one. The next one is from Eric Bakey, and he says, I recently heard Agora Financial's Joe Schreifer, Schreifer, I think, really cool guy, by the way, claim the freelance market is dead. While I do respect his opinion and understand his point of view, I completely disagree. I'm alive and kicking, just got back from Dan Kennedy's Renegade Millionaire 2.0, and have a whole pocket full of business owners who want to hire me to write. What's your State of the Union point of view?
Nice.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know what Joe's saying. I think he's talking about these guys who work at that level. They're not getting the royalties they used to get, right? That's why a lot of them are coming. That's why there's, I think, at least 3 A-list copywriters who subscribe to Email Players, actually, because they want to learn how to sell their own stuff, and they want to learn how to build their own type of deal while still doing freelancing, probably, for all I know. But the point is that they realize that what they used to be able to do, and I had a conversation with David Deutsch about this. I was asking him about this. I'm like, well, so what's it like now? He goes, well, the royalty, the controls don't last as long as they used to, and the royalties aren't what they used to be. So in that sense, I think Joe's absolutely right. That model, if that's what he's talking about, it's not like you're going to starve doing it, but you're not really in a position that you used to be back in the 80s and 90s and all that. So, Eric is obviously happy doing this. So I would say if that makes you happy to be a freelancer, then do it. If your business, if you're business, if you're self-marketing yourself like that, and he's doing Dan Kennedy stuff, which is a whole other game. Like when you do Dan Kennedy stuff, I mean, I see why Eric's happy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He probably has his pick of whoever he wants. And that's fine. Me, I don't want to. What I see, because he wants my State of the Union point of view, is I see a move toward what I call clientless copywriting business. And this isn't, I wish I could take credit for that phrase, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Paul Hollingshead, the co-founder of AWAI, he basically came up with that because he wrote the sales letter for my 10-minute workday program. And that was his whole thing. Like the very first call we had, like, how are we going to sell this thing to their file there? Because their file is different than my file. But to their file, it's like it's a huge hot button. And, not having to rely on clients, because it's all writers. That's what they are. And a lot of them are just sick and tired of clients. Like they just don't want to do it. They're not like Eric. They don't want to do it. They're not like Bob Bly, who loves doing client work, right?
Yeah.
Like he loves it. Like he is happy doing that. But a lot of these copywriters just aren't. Or they want to be in a position where they don't have to do it, or they're not relying on a client. And which to me is a very smart way of going about it. Even if you like doing client work, you should have your own thing going just in case. If nothing else, it gives you it swells your balls up a little bit when you have to ask for money or whatever. And like, you don't really care. So I see it moving towards the clientless copywriting, at least in my world. And that just could be because that's who comes into my world, is people looking for that. It could be that I'm blatantly biased because I have a 10-minute workday program, which teaches a client how to have a clientless copywriting business. That's probably more the case. That I'm like subtly pitching this without realizing it. 10minuteworkday.com. It's, the number 10minuteworkday.com if that's what you're into. It's a very expensive product, so don't just buy it. And luckily they stopped offering a refund guarantee, because I'll tell you, the BizOp people really love the idea of a 10-minute workday, but they didn't listen to the last 2 podcast episodes and they don't have the right mindset for it.
No
so
kidding.
They tend to not do anything with it. But so that's my State of the Union, is that we're moving more toward that, or toward partnership deals. Like you'll hear Brian Kurtz talk about this a lot, where it's a copywriter kind of marries themselves to a company and they do the copywriting and they don't have to do all the other stuff they hate doing. And it's more of a partnership. And maybe they get paid some of the sales of the company and all that. So I've done that before. I hated doing it personally. That's what made me want to do clientless copywriting, but everybody's different. So so to sum it up, I think Joe is right when it comes to that world that he's in. It's just not what it used to be. Like used to be, you'd write an ad and you might have a control that lasts a year, bringing you, thousands of dollars a month and pure residual money like that. I don't believe it's like that anymore. From what I understand.
Think like Agora has been part of the reason why it's not like that anymore? Because they have all the copywriters just battling it out all the time.
It could be. Agora copywriters are very interesting to me. They're very interesting people, because Agora is very smart. From what I can know, this is not an official policy that I know of for Agora. I'm not trying to speak for Agora, but they got all these talented copywriters and they pay them just enough to keep them comfortable to not go out on their own.
Yeah.
So like they probably hate me. They probably hate my 10-minute workday. Clientless, like I'm their nemesis. But they're smart like that. Like that to me is if I was going to have copywriters, I would do the same thing. I'd keep them just happy enough where they don't want to go anywhere while sapping their soul and their spirit, and they sacrifice all their talent to me. That's what I would do too if I was them. But they're very interesting. When you talk to them, it's very interesting. I love talking to Agora copywriters because they know it. What I just said, like the ones I've talked to, like they know it. They're interested in what I do, but man, it's like that movie, Jerry Maguire. Remember that movie with Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire?
Yeah.
He's a sports agent and he goes off on his own and he says, "Who's coming with me?" And he looks at the one girl in billing. She goes, "Well, I would, but I'm up for a raise next week." She's just like, she would love to go out on her own and be a part of this thing he's doing, but she's just comfortably where she's at. So that's how I see it. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm not speaking for anyone, but that's the way I understand it. So this is already going too long. Let's bang out these last 2. Reader right. Paul, or listener Paul Kirch, and you know Paul, I think, right?
Yeah.
Podcaster Paul Kirch. Yeah. During a tough personal time in my life, divorce, and I don't, by the way, I don't think he's going men and go your own way. He doesn't mention it. I grew very inconsistent with my marketing efforts, podcasting episodes, and other messaging. Many loyal followers have become very disengaged. How do I rebuild that trust and re-engage followers who have shifted their attention away from my messages? This goes back to what we were talking about last week with willpower and just doing it. Okay, you just have to get back into it. Start mailing your list every day. Start doing regular podcasts. You've lost people. You can't necessarily get. Mummies don't like to be awakened once they go to sleep. They don't. They'll start chasing you around, try to kill you. But some of them won't be quite dead yet, and you have something to start with. You still have some followers. I know you have some still at least. Start with them and just start marketing to them like you were before. Get the word of mouth machine going. Just do your thing. Just get up and do your thing every day. And, just hop back on the horse. It's really that simple. There's no magic way of doing it that I know of. You just got to start doing it again. It's like if I last fall, I took 2 weeks of, I gotten into this exercise program, Jonathan, this weightlifting called 5x5.
Oh, you did that? Strong lifts.
Oh, dude, I still do it. It's great. It's like the best workout I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
But I had to leave for 2 weeks. I had to get on the road. I had to fly out of these places for 2 weeks. I was gone. And I came back and I was not as strong as I was before I left at all. I mean, you start feeling it. Now, what did I do? I just got back in the gym and started doing it. And yeah, it hurt. You get the pain back and all that and the lactic acid buildup and all that. But you just got to get back into it. And yeah, it's a little painful at first and it's not as much fun as it was before you fell off the horse. But you just get back on, you start riding, and you'll be fine, Paul. And then the last question is from Alex Mullen. And he says, in pithy bullet point fashion, here's a question for you. By now, the concept of always having a mission is well ingrained in me and governs my actions most days. Perhaps not yourself, but some of us have the odd, rare day or days where we're like, human. What have you found to be the most effective for repositioning your mission on a pedestal? In other words, because in the villain's book, I say put your mission on a pedestal when it slips. And, notice how these are, all these questions are kind of related. I did that on purpose. Because
clever fellow.
This goes back to what I was saying before. This is why I was going back to F. Scott Crawford's question. If you're having those things, maybe that's not the right mission for you, because if you're the right mission, it's not a matter of like even having to, there's no falling off. Like you can't wait to work on it every day. It's not, and even if you have like a day where you're just like tired, I'm not talking about that. But I'm saying like you don't need to be motivated to do it. If anything, you want more hours in the day. If anything, you're obsessed with it. You can't not do it. In fact, you feel weird if you don't do it. In fact, if not doing it is slipping, but it's done in a way where you're mad at yourself, not because you feel guilty, but because, damn it, that's another day I could have been working on my mission. I'm a day behind now. And that's how, like, for example, when I was editing my novels, that's how it was. I wake up and I don't like it. It's tedious, but I had this mission to get them done. So I was like editing 7 chapters a day or whatever. I mean, I'm like, wow. I'm fire with it. If I miss a day, I didn't sit there and like beat myself up. It was like, damn it, I missed a day. I could have had this done a day earlier. Like, that's my whole point. So, Alex, I would wonder if you have a mission that you really want, if you're having to ask this question. I can't speak for you, but if it is, this shouldn't be an issue. Like, it's not a matter of someone telling you what to do or having to get back on and all that. Like, you'll just do it because you want to do it and because you actually have to do it. And if you don't do it, it's like not eating or something. You just know something's off. So that's it for this time of Q&As, Jonathan. Next week, I believe, will be the episode before Valentine's Day. And I'm going to give some advice to the single men in the audience and married men too. Really, this stuff will apply to everybody. And for having a happy, healthy relationship with women like I do.
Yeah.
And I do, though. Actually, I really do. I mean, people think I joke around and all this, but the reality is I do. I have very happy relationships. I'm good. And it's in part because of the stuff I'm going to teach next time. So that'll be then.
All right. Another BenSettle.com podcast is in the can. Back in your earbuds next time.
You've been listening to the BenSettle.com podcast. To download yourself a free issue of Ben's prestigious $97 per month email players newsletter, which is going to show you 24 ways to write emails people eagerly read, click, and buy from, head on over to www.bensettle.com. Well, off you go. You know it makes sense.
This is the podcastfactory.com.